Welcome to the Board Game Marketing Podcast. Let's cue the intro. This is the #1 podcast to learn marketing strategies for your board game. Whether you're just starting on your first game or an experienced designer, you've come to the right place. My name is Nalin, and let's talk marketing for your game. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Board Game Marketing Podcast. Today, we're really lucky to have Josh Patton on the show, and I'm really excited for everything that he has to share with us today. So, Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Nalin. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so firstly, I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and also about your project before we get into the really nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, sure. So I have a normal job, and then kind of a side project company is our gaming company. My normal job, I work in finance. I help small businesses acquire equipment to help them expand their businesses. And then obviously on the gaming side of things, our company is called Animo Games. It was formed in 2017 by myself, my best friend, and his wife. So it's a three-person band together here. My friend's name is also Josh, to make it easy. He's really the brains behind the designs of the games. He brought me on as more of a developer to help make it into a more fun game and to help out with the marketing side of things. So that's kind of my specialty.
That's really cool. I'm glad we're going to be talking to you and just really digging into what you guys did for the game. So let's kind of get started. Can you tell me more about what preparation you did for your campaign in that pre-launch stage?
Yeah, sure. Before I jump right into that, let me give you a little bit of idea of what the product is and kind of a little background, because this most recent Kickstarter campaign was actually an expansion to our original game. And the original game is called Animo. It's the Living Deck Bible verse card game. And I'll give you kind of a little bit of an insight about kind of the uphill battles that we've had with this game. A quick story for you. This is probably 3 years ago. I went to one of the Unpub design events and talked to some other designers and publishers, and just talking to them about what we had going on and just learning to play other games and everything. And while I was talking to them about what we had thought about doing, I got a lot of people to say that we're pretty crazy for what we're trying. So we have a pretty unique product. It's a Christian trading card game that is aimed at a younger audience. We've often been told that it's similar to like a Christian Pokemon. A little bit differences, the gameplay is different. Instead of Pokemon, where you're battling the other player with potential violence or magic or things along those lines, our game uses virtues from the Bible with fun characters to help defeat sin and score points. So a little bit different kind of a theme and a feel for the game, but it plays in a similar manner to some other trading card games. The issues that we've had, the three main difficulties, is that one, marketing and making a biblical game is difficult because you really narrow your audience. There's a lot of people that are just turned off by religious products and just want to stay away from those. So that narrows the audience pretty well. Secondly, as you probably know, Nalin, when anyone says trading card game, a lot of people run for the hills as well. And that's typically because the way that previous trading card games or current trading card games are set up is that oftentimes it's more of a distribution model where people really want to get all the cards, but they have to chase that ultra rare card and continually have to buy additional packs. And it ends up being pretty expensive. And so our game's a little bit differently set up, where you do have the ability to get all the cards up front in the different series. So we've kind of made some adjustments with that I can talk about later. But trading card game is another stumble or another hurdle that we've had to overcome. And then the third hurdle is marketing a kids game. There's not a huge market out there for kids games. It's more the hobby gaming market is more aimed at adults, and oftentimes, and we'll talk a little bit about this with some of the marketing strategies that we've used, but you really have to target the parents because it's the parents that are actually buying the games for the kids. So those are kind of before we really jumped into the strategies of the Kickstarter, just giving you a little bit of insight about what we've had to deal with and kind of some of the strategies we've used because of these hurdles that we've had to overcome.
Yeah, that's a great setup for just to kind of set the scene of what kind of obstacles you guys have going into this. And it's a great jumping point to see, like, hey, people said you're crazy for what you're trying to do, but we're going to do it anyway. And let's kind of dig in. How did you guys tackle these three, big obstacles? The biblical games, you said, or kind of narrows down your audience. It's a trading card games. A lot of people run for the hills, and marketing a kid's game. Let's kind of break that apart.
Yeah. So the first Kickstarter that we did was back in 2018, and that was for the base game, the original series we call them. Each series is a new series or has its new name to it. The original one was just called Animo. This next series that we just completed the Kickstarter was called Cross Trainers, and it's a whole new set of 144 cards, right? So the first set had 140 cards, the next set has 144 cards. The first Kickstarter was back in 2018, and we had no clue what we were doing, other than reading the blogs of the many people that have been mentioned on your podcast previously, just getting involved with different Kickstarter marketing groups, listening to podcasts, trying to figure out what to actually do and how to build that crowd, how to build that audience. But for the most part, for that first Kickstarter, we really relied on friends and family. They brought in about, I'd say, 40% of the traffic for our first Kickstarter, and we were able to do some different podcasts and do some review videos and things along those lines that did help bring on the remaining balance to allow us to fund to create the first game. Since then, we've been able to go out and bring on additional customers and really gather some additional information. I'll get into that. So I consider everything after immediately following the first Kickstarter to be pre-launch for the next Kickstarter. And that's how we look at things. And so the steps that we took for pre-launch for this recent Kickstarter for Cross Trainers was, we went to a number of homeschool conventions. Normally when you think of games, you think of Gen Con and PAX Unplugged and Gamma and places like that. But our market is specifically a lot of Christians, a lot of homeschools, homeschool kids, things along those lines. And so homeschool conventions works really well for us. So we attended a number of different homeschool conventions, demoed the games there, collected email addresses from those customers, which we then used to send out monthly newsletters about leaks about the next series of Animo. And my partner Josh does a great job of setting up the art for the new cards. He typically will sketch a character and have an idea for it, and then work with various different artists to finalize it and put the finishing touches on that. So as those art started to come in, we'd start releasing kind of some art leaks out to our fans and get them excited about that next series there. We also included a small sales flyer in all the sales of our Series 1 web sales. There's a little flyer that talks about the next series, gets people excited about what's coming up. As we got closer to the launch of Cross Trainers, we also included a link to the Kickstarter page so that people could go and click that remind me button. Things along those lines really helped us to get going on this most recent Kickstarter. We also did a Facebook group. Obviously, these days we've learned that Facebook pages are great and a necessary evil, but a lot of people don't see any of the posts that you put on your page. So we've We've been we created a Animo card game insiders group, and so invited a lot of our fans in there. I think we have about 200 people in that group now, where we were able to continue to do art leaks, show new mechanisms, videos of new mechanisms for the new game, just teach people how to play the game. Again, we're talking about a lot of children here, so there needs some extra reminders to do that and how to build their decks, things along those lines. We did dive into some Facebook ads. That was interesting. If you've never done a Facebook ad before and you're trying it for the first time, it is overwhelming. And and now I know you and I have had some conversations about the different things within Facebook ads, and just getting as much knowledge and soaking as much knowledge up from other people as possible, to be able to get to a point where you're starting to get to a place where these Facebook ads are actually effective. So learned how to go after new audiences, build new audiences. On our side, it was a lot of narrowing down to parents with the age group that was typically looking at our games, adding in different categories that would really make sense within our specific game, and then once we had enough people, then building up our email address and doing retargeting ads based on people who've either bought from us through our website or who have visited our website within the last 30 days, a bunch of different retargeting ads, and we ended up being pretty successful with pulling in new leads from the different Facebook ads that we had, specifically about a month and a half before the Kickstarter launch. That's really when we started ramping up those Facebook ads. And then specifically, I think probably the most important thing we did pre-launch was we sent out 3 emails the week before, the last one the day before the launch, to make sure that people knew exactly when to jump on, and to make sure that at 12 o'clock they were ready to push the pledge button there. Kind of a funny story. We didn't say whether it was AM or PM, and we had a lot of the fans come back and say that they stayed up till midnight trying to pledge when we were actually opening up at noon.
Oh no!
So that was interesting, but it helped to all those things combined helped to have a really good day one, which, as you know, is super important for Kickstarter.
Wow, yeah, that was a lot that you went through, and it seems like you guys really understood your audience, and that's why you figured out like where to kind of really double down your efforts, right? You mentioned that right after your first campaign ended was pretty much the pre-launch for the next campaign, and you started doing all these conventions, and it seems that you figured out who your audience was, and so you doubled down. You didn't go to PAX Unplugged, you didn't go to Gen Con, you didn't go to all these places. You went to the homeschool conventions. So I think that's great, because knowing your audience is kind of just the key to unlocking everything for just the right marketing message, channel, project, image, everything.
Right, and we've made a ton of mistakes in the meantime, and learned from those as well. We with Facebook ads, we had added Magic the Gathering as a criteria, and or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or some other trading card games that are out there, and man, did we get some interesting responses from those. You got a lot of trolls that really like their game and don't like to see anybody else trying something different. So it was really interesting to see some of the comments that came on some of those ads that we had tried some different audiences, but as you know, you make some adjustments to find out which ones are effective and continue on that route.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always say, haters gonna hate, and you just need to find your audience, because people are gonna who love your game is gonna love your game.
Exactly. Yep.
So I wanted to kind of dig in a little bit more. A lot of people who go to conventions, public places, they're just kind of scared to get people's emails, talk to people. Do you have any tips or pointers about what you guys did just to be able to, talk to people about your game more openly, collect emails? Was it like through a phone, a piece of paper? Kind of walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So at conventions, what we would do is, we'd have our booth, we'd have our products laid out, and we'd have these little card holders. Actually, my father-in-law is a woodworker, and he made these really nice stained card holders. And so we would have the cards actually out and on display, as well as in a book, and obviously in the decks that were lined up on the side there. But really allowing people to see what the cards look like. And during these conventions, we would have a bag of something. So if it was something that was near Christmas time, we'd have a stocking, and we'd have just a bunch of the cards that were in the stocking. So we'd had just a bunch of packs opened up and that we had ready for giveaways, and we would literally give a card out to every kid that walked by. Sometimes we'd bring our own kids, and our kids would be the ones that were handing out these cards. And what it did was it helped to start a conversation, right? When you're at a convention, if you've ever exhibited at a convention, you're sitting at the booth and you're kind of waiting patiently for someone to walk by and kind of look you in the eye or say, "Oh, that's interesting," or something along those lines. And if you don't make that first step or make it comfortable for that person to talk to you, then they're just going to walk right by. Even if they're actually interested in what you have, they're just as awkward as you are sometimes, and they want that interaction for the most part to figure out what it is that you actually are doing. And so the giving away the free game, the free card, saying, would you like to have an Animo card, and you literally hold it out to them. And the kids always take them and they look at them, and then now the parents are looking at it and says, "Oh, what is this?" And now you're in the conversation, and it allows you to get into a lot more conversations that way. I guess we're lucky where we have the ability to have really cool art and different art on all our cards, where we can do that. I'm not sure other types of games might have that same ability to do so, but it's really worked for us in the convention style. So once we have conversations, we have a computer set up, typically one with a monitor showing our Kickstarter videos, or just some videos of kids playing, or some how to play videos we have on loop, and then we have a computer set up that specifically is set up to our website where emails are collected. And so if someone's interested, maybe they don't want to buy right now. We ask them if they'd want to get some updated information as things go on, and 9 times out of 10 they say yes. They come over to the computer, they type their email address in, and now we've got a nice, really good qualified lead that we didn't necessarily have to go out and try to bring in through a Facebook ad or do through a contest where the person might not actually be interested in the product. They just wanted that free thing that you're giving away. This is a much more qualified lead.
Yeah, I really like that you pretty much gave yourself an excuse to start that conversation.
Yep.
Marketing, a lot of time, is just the attention that you can draw in for your game. And, you guys figured out the best way to do it is, handing that card, letting the card do the work for you, and then starting the conversation that way. So I think that's incredible.
And our cards are fun. They have kitschy little names to them, with a biblical virtue or a sin on them. For instance, my son came up with this card. It's called Brag a Rooster, and it has a rooster, and he's holding his head up high, and he's got his his thumb that he's pointing to him like he's bragging. And the virtue the sin on there is boastfulness, and it has a Bible verse that goes and tells you how to avoid that sin. Or there's a caterpillar in a cocoon, and it's patience, and it has a Bible verse that talks about waiting patiently. Or most parents' favorite is Obi-Wan. I have to say that right. I can't say Obi-Wan, but it's a character that's in a it looks like he's in a Star Wars situation, with a robe on, and it's about being obedient. And the verse is, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." parents get a kick out of that. So we often give that card away. Just gets that conversation started, like I talked about.
That's definitely a fun play on pop culture, especially to capitalize on parents knowing it too.
Right, exactly.
All right, so thank you for going over that, your process at conventions. I think it's really helpful to talk about, how to break that ice, how to, talk about, hey, you're probably as awkward as they are, or they are probably as awkward as you are. So just break that ice, have the conversation. You also mentioned sales flyers in, your previous kind of game purchases. How long in advance did you activate that for people?
So we're going to start doing that all the time. I think it's especially if we'll have, typically what we're finding is people will either, right now they're buying the Series 1 because that's all we have available. I think our manufacturing order is set to arrive late August, and we should be able to fulfill either late August or early September, most likely. So our goal is to be able to have a couple different flyers. So if they're buying, Series 2 cards, within, I think Weebly is our website that we use through our orders site, we can quickly type in and see how many other orders they've had, if they've ordered more than once, and what products they've had. And so we can tell, okay, they haven't ordered Series 1 products yet. They're now only ordering Series 2. So we'll have a little flyer that tells them about the other products that they are still looking to purchase.
Got it. Yeah.
And hopefully down the road, as we continue to design additional games on top of, this game and future series, because we already have, 3 or 4 different additional series that we have planned out specifically for Animo, but I'm also designing another game, and there's a couple other games that have come up that we may end up publish. So, you always see, a game right game. It comes with the game, but it has that nice little slick flyer that has all the other games that are on there as well. So if you have customers that are currently buying from you, those are probably the best chances of you getting additional sales for additional games. So we want to capitalize on that.
Yeah, that's really a good strategy for, returning to Kickstarter, just like yourself. Lots of people want to come back and launch, expansions, additions. Definitely this is the route to go.
Yep.
And now we're kind of close to launch now. You talked about you sent 3 emails the week before launch. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah. The first one is just, hey, remember us. Because from last month, we told you this was being launched. We're closer to that point where it's going to be launched. The next email was kind of a similar thing, but I think we leaked a couple of additional pieces of information there. And then that third email was specifically hey, this is exactly the time. Be ready. We really need your support to help out, kind of give them an idea of how Kickstarter works and the algorithms. In order to get more views, you have to have a really strong day one. So to really bring our really strong fans, make sure that they're ready to go day one. Our first Kickstarter, we did all right on day one. But we know that there was a lot of people that had committed to say yes, that they were going to pledge, and it took them, 2-3 weeks to get around to doing it. So we really wanted to make sure that we had a really strong day one following. It didn't necessarily help us down the road mid-campaign, where we had the mid-campaign slump. There's lots of improvements that we could have done there, but it did help us on day one for sure.
Got it. So when it did come to launch day, what happened? Like, what did you guys do for launch day to just get the word out?
So there are, as you know, so many different board game groups that are out there. And I had put together my own spreadsheet that, I'm probably in 70 or so different board game groups, as well as homeschool groups, parenting groups, basically our target market people. And in those groups, oftentimes they do allow for you to promote your game. Some have rules where there's no promotions whatsoever, no links to Kickstarters, and you definitely want to follow those directions. But I had taken the time ahead of time to read the rules of each of those groups and find out which groups that I could go ahead and make sure that they knew with a post and some nice images for our game that, hey, this is launching today, or this just launched. I spent a lot of time that first day just sending out posts on those groups, letting them know that, hey, this is now live. Here's the link. We'd love your support.
Got it. Wow. Yeah. A lot. You said at least 70 groups just for the board games. That's definitely a lot of groups and a lot of time.
Yes. But, a lot of it was copy and paste. I would have liked to have a little bit more specific to the group. And I tried to change it up a little bit based on, interactions of the group previously. But for the most part, it was a similar message. So it wasn't as time consuming as you would have think.
Got it. And so for the rest of the campaign, for the 30 or so days that you guys were on, what kind of marketing things did you guys do to just keep the word going out?
Yeah, so we continued to do Facebook ads, although we did probably more Facebook ads pre-campaign than we did during, but we still had a decent leak during the campaign. But one of the really good things that we did is really trying to get organic traffic. We do this is something we do not only just during the Kickstarter month, but every month. We do a monthly Animo Bible verse challenge, and what we do for this is we pick a character to spotlight, one of the cards on the characters each month, and we pick that character and have a different family every month put a video together. We give them the template of what to say, and there's families lined up 4 or 5 months in advance every month to get into this because they want to be part of it. And what they do is they announce that this character card is the new Bible verse challenge of the month, and that any person, most of the time it's been kids, that recites the Bible verse on this card is able to get a free holographic card of that card, a special card that's exclusive. We don't sell it. It's a full art card of that character that we mail to that person for free. And all that they have to do is take a video of them reciting that verse and post it on their Facebook. And during the campaign, we had them also copy in our link to the Kickstarter and put a little blurb in there of saying, here's my Bible verse challenge, and here's the link to the Kickstarter campaign. You guys should check it out. And so now everyone that is friends or that Facebook allows to see of those people that are our fans now get access to not only a cute kid saying a Bible verse that they probably are interested in, but also now they're checking it out and saying, oh, what is this game? What is this card that they're doing? And oh, here's a link. Let's click on that. And so we got a lot more traffic to our page based on that.
I love it. It's like using the virality aspect of sharing videos and sharing it on pages and profiles and kind of tying it into the theme of the game and what people want to do anyway. So that's incredible.
Yep. I wish I could tell you it was a wild success in converting customers, but it wasn't necessarily that super successful. But the idea is there, and we continue to do that on a monthly basis because we want to continue to engage our audience. We don't want this to be a game that gets purchased and gets thrown in a junk drawer or put on the shelf. We want it to be something that is something that these kids are learning and playing with on a regular basis. So we try to get them involved on a monthly basis.
Absolutely, yeah. The replayability, staying relevant is really important to games.
Yep. We also did a game giveaway. So I contacted, as we've been going through this the last couple of years, going to conventions, just learning about different publishers. There's a number of different publishers that have Christian themed games or things along those lines that I've befriended, and had a conversation with a few of them, and said I was going to be doing a giveaway, and I was actually planning on purchasing their games to be able to do the giveaway, and most of them ended up saying they're going to ship them out for free. So it ended up being a really inexpensive giveaway for us. But we had 5 different full games that we were giving away, along with the Series 1 cards and the premium playmats from Animo that we were doing a giveaway for. And what we did on that was we created a post on both Facebook and on Instagram. And people would comment on that post and tag someone who they thought would be interested in this game, in Animo. And so in the post, it would talked about the Kickstarter, and then it talked about, hey, this is the giveaway post. Go ahead and tag someone you think is interested in the game. And it allowed us to get, I think, 257 entries, I think we counted, of people that had tagged other people to view what was going on with the Kickstarter. So again, another organic way to be able to pull in additional views to the Kickstarter.
Did you guys use a special program to organize this giveaway, or was it just kind of organically just posting it and kind of going through and counting?
It was counting. And I went through and I manually typed out a spreadsheet, and then we did a random number generator in order to figure out who the actual winner was. So I had all the different contestants and then how many different entries they had. It took about an hour to put together. So it wasn't something that was really a smooth process, but it was a good thing to do, I think.
Nice. And so out of everything that we talked about today, in the pre-launch, during the campaign itself, on launch day, what do you think was kind of the most effective marketing method for this particular campaign?
Well, I haven't mentioned it yet because I knew you were going to ask that question. And so the most effective strategy we used was it kind of fell into our lap, actually. I'd like to say that I'm a marketing genius and foresaw this, but that's not the case. We had one of our fans who's super talented, and he makes custom wood-burned tokens for other games. And he came up with the idea that he would like to make these custom burned wood tokens for our power tokens. Normally we have punch outs for these power tokens that are in our decks. And he said that he's going to make these awesome custom wood tokens. And we said, that's fantastic. And so we asked him, well, what are you willing to do? He said, well, it takes some time and some resources, but I'm willing to give away 50 sets of these. And so we did a early bird, not necessarily for pricing, but for this exclusive wood token on our highest premium pledge tier, where the first 50 people that pledged for this premium tier were able to secure these premium wood burn tokens. And those were gone, I believe, within, I think it was before 30 minutes were up. We had already had 50 of the $90 tiers already purchased. So it was a really quick start to the campaign, which was awesome and really helped us get to funding. We funded in 30 hours.
That is incredible. Yeah, getting that really special upgrade pretty much and tying that to the most premium reward, and then telling people that it's a limited, kind of scarce reward, it's kind of all together coming to really get you guys to quickly fund. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's good. But I've also heard the counter side of that people after the fact, and we had a couple of people that were said, why is there only 50, and asking about that. We had a good explanation that it's not us. I mean, if we could buy these, specific ones that we were doing, we probably would. But we specifically had these donated to us from a fan that he was making them, and this is what he committed to do. So we had a good excuse for not having additional ones. But it did I don't know if I wouldn't say upset, but it did create some animosity with some of the backers there. But overall, I think it was a success.
Yeah, that is definitely like a balance. A lot of people are, if there's an early reward, early price, like it kind of limits how many people can get it or how many people get access to it, even if they come in the middle of the campaign and things like that. So with this, do you think it's something that you would take on to a next campaign that you do, or?
I think we would, and I think that we'd probably open it up to more than 50, because I guarantee we could have got 150 that first day if we would have done it that route, if we would have had more available. And so, again, this was kind of put on us last moment, kind of a situation here, but we'll do some more insights probably in the future and see if there's some sort of way that we can, tie it in with our manufacturer to get something that's a little bit special for that first group of people that are coming on. Maybe set it up for the first 24 hours or something along those lines, or have a higher count rather than just 50.
Got it. Yeah. And did you reach out to this fan knowing that they do these special tokens and woodworking, or was it that they reached out to you?
They reached out to us. In fact, he had made some for his own use, and he had posted it in the Animo Game Insiders, and then he had actually within that group, as other people were saying, "Oh, these are awesome," he had said, sent something to us and said, "Would you guys be interested in having us put something together for your game?" And of course, we said yes.
Gotta love those super fans.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Josh. This was very, very informative and very insightful.
Yeah, no, your podcast has been great. I'm really looking forward to continuing to listen to it. There's been some really, really great guests, and looking forward to continuing to listen.
Awesome, thank you. And before we go, kind of what's next for you with Animo? I know you have 2 already released. Is there going to be one in the next year or 2, or what's going on there?
First and foremost, of course, it's our backers and getting the fulfillment going out now. So we've given the go. I think they're starting manufacturing right now. Like I said, we should have everything in our fulfillment warehouse here in Michigan, where we're based out of, probably late August, and getting those out. After that, we're already starting to discuss setting up the next series of cards. Of course, I'll be focused in on. We have lots and lots of inventory. We went kind of crazy on this manufacturing print run, so we've got lots of inventory to sell as well. And so, setting up conventions. Hopefully, that there'll be more in-person conventions as the year goes on, or most likely in 2021. Where we can continue to bring on additional fans and really try different avenues and different revenue streams of different setups of different people that would be interested in playing the game. And we're also talking about putting some tournaments together so that we can start a competitive scene, so that we can get some more interest in that side of things as more and more people get into it. So we've got a lot to do. There's also in the back of my head another game that I have that I need to continue to play test that we hope to eventually publish. But right now we're just trying to do the things that we're doing with specifically with Animo.
That's awesome. Well, lots on your plate for this one and another, one that you're kind of thinking about too. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if listeners are interested in learning more about you, about Animo, where should they head to?
Sure. So our game company is called Animo Games, and the website is actually animocards.com, and Facebook is @AnimoCards, and as well as the Instagram @AnimoCards. On Twitter, we are @Animo Games. So those are the best ways to get a hold of us. We have all our information there. Looking forward to hearing from some people if anyone has additional questions.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Josh.
Thanks, Nalin.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Board Game Marketing Podcast. For daily tips and advice, find us in the Board Game Marketing group on Facebook. See you next week.